This deal almost shouldn't exist. True beachfront is the rarest kind of real estate there is. They aren't making any more anywhere in the world. In Costa Rica, the law makes it scarcer still. For reasons I'll explain, legally owning true beachfront here is almost impossible. But recently, after 15 years of scouting Costa Rica, I found an incredible opportunity there. A chance to own true beachfront real estate in a full ocean view community where nothing separates you from the sand except resort level amenities. And the pricing was from under $300,000. As soon as I shared details of this deal, every single condo disappeared in hours. So in today's episode, I want to do something a little different. Instead of sharing a deep dive on a destination, I'm going to tell you about this specific opportunity, how I found it, why it's so rare, and what this opportunity reveals about the true cost of owning beachfront in Costa Rica today. Hi, I'm Ronan McMahon. My team and I spend more than $1 million every year on travel and research looking for the best real estate opportunities in the world. And Costa Rica has been part of my beat for a decade and a half. It's not hard to understand why. Costa Rica has what so many people are looking for today: warm weather, stunning beaches, lush rainforests, diverse wildlife, a global reputation for protecting nature, and a lifestyle that feels healthier, freer, and more connected to the outdoors. This is one of the original ecotourism destinations, a country that understood earlier than most that its natural beauty was its greatest asset. So instead of paving over everything, Costa Rica protected it. National parks, wildlife refuges, biological reserves, strict development rules. That restraint is part of the appeal. It's why millions of people come here every year and why so many stay. Over time, modern infrastructure has grown around that demand. Private hospitals, international schools, modern supermarkets, high-speed internet, direct flights from major North American cities, a deep rental market. In 15 years of scouting Costa Rica, I've found some great deals here. On a hill overlooking the ocean in the renowned surf town of Tamarindo, in the pristine southern zone, in a community that looks out on the iconic peninsula Papagayo. I've personally bought here too for my own portfolio, in a deal to own homes in an amenity-rich community near the luxury marina at Playa Flamingo. But through all my years scouting Costa Rica, there was one kind of opportunity I could never find. Not because I didn't want to, because in Costa Rica, titled true beachfront is incredibly hard to find. And to understand why, you need to understand how the law treats the beach. In Costa Rica, the beach is treated differently than ordinary real estate. Costa Rica's maritime law was passed in 1977. Under that law, the first 200 meters inland from the high tide line is treated as a special coastal zone. The first 50 meters belongs to everyone. It's public land. You can walk on it, you can swim from it, you can enjoy it, but you cannot own it, and you cannot build on it. The next 150 meters is different again. That's generally classed as concession land. In plain English, that means it's usually leased from the local municipality on renewable 20-year terms. It's not the same as owning freehold titled property, and there are restrictions. Foreign ownership of concession land is typically capped at 49%, unless you've been a resident for at least 5 years. Roughly 95% of Costa Rica's beachfront parcels fall under these concession rules. The rare exception is beachfront that was already privately titled before the 1977 law took effect. That is the small category I care about. Fee simple beachfront, freehold, mortgageable, property you can own in the way you understand ownership back home. But there's very little of it. You cannot create new titled beachfront in Costa Rica today. The pool is fixed. Most of it is already held by hotels, resorts, old families, legacy estates, or owners who simply don't want to sell. So titled beachfront in Costa Rica is rare. Titled beachfront in a condo community is rarer still. And titled beachfront in a brand new, full amenity, ocean view condo community, 90 minutes from the country's main international airport, that is almost unheard of. That is what made the deal I found so unusual. It was titled ocean view, true beachfront real estate in a country where almost all beachfront can never be owned in that way. In a moment, I'll share the pricing. But first, we need to explore the location. This deal is not only true beachfront, it's true beachfront in the closest major beach town to the capital San Jose and Costa Rica's main international airport. When you land at Juan Santa Maria International Airport and rent a car, you're just 65 25 miles from this town, 90 minutes door to door. But this wasn't always the simple, smooth drive it is today. For decades, Jaco was close to San Jose on a map, but not in reality. The road was slow, the journey was long, and the beach that now feels like an easy weekend escape was once a serious expedition. That changed with Route 27. This is a classic path of progress story. The decision to build the road was made back in 1973, but Route 27 didn't open until January 27, 2010. In between came decades of delays, cancelled loans, bankrupt contractors, unfinished bridges, concession disputes, and cost overruns. By the time it finally opened, the road had cost around $370 million. But the only thing that matters for us is what happened next. The drive from San Jose's International Airport to Jaco fell from roughly 2.5 hours to about 90 minutes. The closest serious Pacific beach to the capital suddenly became much easier to reach. A beach that once felt like a half-day trip became a Saturday morning. Jaco had already been discovered by then. Surfers found this coast in the 1960s and 70s. Back then, it was little more than a fishing village wrapped in jungle. The roads were poor, the infrastructure was basic, but Jaco had a 2.5-mile Pacific beach, warm water and consistent surf. The early surfers were happy to put up with the rough edges. They rented simple rooms, opened surf camps, started beach bars and cafes. Then came backpackers, adventure travelers, families from San Jose. A grassroots tourism economy grew around the beach. By the 1980s and 90s, as Costa Rica marketed itself internationally as an ecotourism destination, Jaco became one of the country's original Pacific beach hubs. But the next major signal came just up the road. In 1991, a Californian developer and sports fisherman named Bill Royster arrived in Herradura Bay, 15 minutes north of Jaco. He saw an 1,100-acre cattle farm, but he imagined a world-class marina, championship golf, luxury villas, and Marriott-branded hospitality. That became Los Sueños. Today, Los Sueños is the preeminent symbol of luxury on Costa Rica's Central Pacific. There's a 200-slip marina, a championship golf course, luxury condos and villas, a sports fishing fleet that attracts global wealth. Michael Jordan is a regular visitor, Tom Brady has been there, Hollywood and Wall Street names run boats from its slips. Ocean view condos in Los Sueños start in the 700,000s. Villas list for 3 million, 5 million, even 6.5 million. That tells you something important. This coast can attract serious wealth. But Los Sueños is not Jaco. Los Sueños is polished, manicured, controlled, a resort world. Many affluent people want that, but many others want something different. They want to stay longer, live more independently, be in a real town. Somewhere with schools, stores, cafes, gyms, local restaurants, families, expats, surfers, and year-round life. That's what Jaco offers. And that's why the town is now entering its next phase. Jaco is no longer just a surf town. It's becoming a lifestyle destination. Today, it has private bilingual schools, an established expat community, good gyms, art galleries, farmers markets, around 100 restaurants and bars, fiber optic internet, and a year-round population that has grown steadily for decades. That's the maturation story. The beach town that first served surfers and weekend visitors became a real year-round community. And now, the upmarket version of Jaco is starting to arrive. You see it most clearly on the north end of town. Locals increasingly call it North Jaco. Here, boutique retail, upgraded beachfront hospitality, and new amenity-rich residential projects are clustering within a few blocks. One of the last true beachfront parcels in the area is expected to become a high-end hotel and retail plaza from a major regional group. Individually, these changes may look small. Together, they point to something bigger. Jaco is at an inflection point, and you can already see that in the pricing here. Modern, full amenity, true beachfront 2-beds in Jaco are generally asking in the $500,000 to $600,000 range. Older, true beachfront inventory often asks $450,000 to $550,000. Take the example of a community here called Pacific Point. It was built in 2024, it has strong amenities, it has ocean views, but there's one major difference from the opportunity I found. Pacific Point is set back from the sand, with a road road between the building and the beach. Two-bed condos there have been asking in the low to mid 500,000s. And short-term rental listings in that building show nightly rates around $450 to $475. That tells us two important things. First, Jaco already supports 500,000 plus pricing for modern ocean view condos. Second, renters are already paying premium nightly rates for this kind of product. And that is what made the community I found so compelling, because it offered something better positioned at a much lower price. This is where the opportunity becomes very specific. The deal I found was to own in a brand new, true beachfront condo community on titled land at the north end of Jaco. Every condo has ocean views, not some of them, not just the penthouses, every condo. And the community is designed so that nothing separates you from the beach except your own resort level amenities. Your pool, your lounge areas, your gym, your fire pits, that's it. You step past your amenities and you're on the beach. This is what made this opportunity so powerful, because even in Jaco, many of the best modern condos don't offer that. Before I reveal the price of these condos, I want to explain what I do and how that affected the price. 18 years ago, I founded a group called Real Estate Trend Alert, or RETA for short. The idea was simple: bring together like-minded people who recognize the incredible potential of international real estate. People who understand that there is always an opportunity somewhere when you look everywhere. Through RETA, we pool our buying power and use that collective strength to get access to deals most individual buyers would never see. It's a win-win for us and the developer we work with. The developer sells a large chunk of their inventory right off the bat. In return, they give us first access, special terms, and off-market pricing that most ordinary buyers never see. That's the RETA advantage. Early access, below market pricing, and a deal negotiated before the wider market has a chance to move. That's what happened with this opportunity. One of Costa Rica's top developers had an irreplaceable piece of titled beachfront land in Jaco. They came to RETA because they wanted a group who could bring serious committed buyers in volume. In return, RETA members got off-market pricing. Our RETA-only price started at $297,000. That was for a two-bed, two-bath, ocean view condo of 904 square feet, including the terrace. I expect that condo will be worth $520,000 5 years after delivery. That's a projected gain of $223,000. The RETA-only pricing on three-bed condos started at $427,000. These were 1,195 square feet, including the terrace. I expect those will be worth $748,000 5 years after delivery. That's an expected gain of $321,000. And three-bed penthouses were available from $535,000. I believe those could be pushing towards $1 million in value 5 years after delivery. That's why the deal disappeared in hours. Not just because the pricing was incredible, but because there was a massive gap between what we are paying and what similar properties retail for in Jaco today. Capital appreciation is only half the case. The other half is income. And Jaco is a serious rental market. This is not a one-season beach town. High season brings international tourists. Weekends bring families from San Jose. Remote workers stay for weeks or months. Surfers come throughout the year. Snowbirds and retirees add another layer. And because Jaco is so accessible, it captures demand that more remote Costa Rican beach towns simply can't. When you own rental real estate, you don't want to depend on one narrow type of renter. You want layers of demand. Jaco has them. A contact of ours owns 4 short-term rental units in Jaco, including one in Pacific Point. He sees around 70% annual occupancy across his units. That's a professional operator. He knows what he's doing. But those units do not have what this opportunity will have. This will be brand new, true beachfront. No road between the amenities and the beach. Ocean views from every condo. And resort level resort-level amenities directly on the sand. That is exactly the kind of product renters pay a premium for. Based on the data we reviewed, my conservative case for the entry 2-bed condo is around $50,200 a year in gross rental income once the rental opportunity is established. On a $297,000 purchase price, that's a 17% gross yield, and that still leaves plenty of time for personal use. Now, I want to be clear, short-term rentals take time to ramp up. The first year is about reviews, photos, listing optimization, getting the algorithm to surface your condo. Year 2 is usually where the numbers start to sing. So no one should look at this as instant income on day one. But once established, the numbers are compelling. And the reason is simple. When someone is scrolling Airbnb, 3 things make them stop: the view, the location, the amenities. This has it all. That's what renters pay for. And it's also what makes this kind of asset so enjoyable to own personally. You can fly down, bring family, invite friends, surf in the morning, fish and golf nearby at Los Sueños, work from your condo for a few days, then hand the keys back to your rental manager and let the property go back to work. That's the beauty of a well-bought lifestyle asset. It can perform, it can compound, it can rent, and it gives you something a brokerage account never will: a place to actually go. This is why I wanted to make this episode. Not because Jaco is an interesting beach town, though it is. Not because Costa Rica is one of the most desirable countries in the Americas, though that's true. But because this deal showed something much bigger. When true beachfront appears in Costa Rica with full title in an established beach town, 90 minutes from the country's main international airport, resort-level amenities on the sand, and pricing from $297,000, the market moves fast. In this case, every condo disappeared in hours, and that tells you something. It tells you how scarce this kind of asset really is. It shows you how deep demand is for the right beachfront real estate in Costa Rica. And it tells you why I spend so much time looking for opportunities like this. Because the best deals rarely sit in plain sight. They come from relationships, boots on the ground, developer trust, market knowledge, and being ready before the wider market understands what's happening. That's what RETA exists to do. Find the right real estate in the right place and negotiate special pricing before everyone else gets there. This was exactly that kind of opportunity. And my team and I are constantly searching for more in Costa Rica, Portugal, Cabo, Spain, Montenegro, Uruguay, Panama, and more. If you've enjoyed this episode, make sure you subscribe. Every week I share the places, trends, and opportunities my team uncovers around the world. If you want to learn exactly how to get access to deals like the one we uncovered in Jaco, sign up for the Ronan McMahon Report newsletter below. I'll also send you my complete real estate buyer's guide to Costa Rica. And I'll see you in the next episode.